First off, I want to say welcome to my channel. You're obviously here because you clicked the thumbnail and you want to see how we're doing this wall. We're finishing this wall up in this video, start to finish. I'm kind of doing a garage revamp real fast, and I hope that you stay tuned for the whole video to see how this turns out, because I think you're going to be impressed with how this started versus how this is looking now, because the background in this video is absolutely amazing. Like, I could just sit here and stare at it. Let's get to work. All right, so for our next task in revamping this wall or whatever, is we do have to get this cleaned off. Now I'm gonna show you these panels real fast, and I'm gonna get this cleaned off, and I wanna kind of figure out my layout. I know I just want to do right here where the TV's at, but I need some borders that are on the side and then a border across the top and such like that that I have to personally figure out. That's my problem, not yours. But let me show you what panels we are using before I even get started. All right, so these are the panels that we are using. PVC they're made of. All right, Smart Profile 3D wall panel. That is it. There's the item number. All right, and I'm gonna put a screenshot also over here in the corner of the actual Amazon listing. A lot of people put this stuff on with like liquid nails or some adhesive right there. It gives you some options right here, what adhesives to use on PVC panels, constructions, liquid nails, sealants, wallpaper adhesives, glues, how to cut it. You can cut them with scissors. And these things are pretty straightforward. They want dots on them. All right. It goes over everything how they recommend to install them, but I'm going to show you how we are going to install them. Now, when these first showed up, I was like, what? I was like, one box, because supposedly one of these I think covers 55 square feet or something. Well, the thing is, I didn't realize they were this thin, but there is multiple panels, if you can see inside here. Multiple. It still does not look like enough. The math that I did said that it would do everything but pretty much behind the TV. We might have to put in a quick order to Amazon again to get a little bit more, but we started with just one box because I didn't want it too big, I didn't think. So this thing is just super freaking flimsy, which is good, because in an area like me in this thin garage or this small garage, I don't have a lot of space. So anytime you get something like this that is sticking off the wall this far, you know, if you were to put real bricks on this wall, it takes up space. And then also real bricks would hold, they have little holes in them and texture that would hold dust, and that's just not a good idea in this garage. Whereas this, it has the 3D texture to it, as you can see, or the 3D looking design. So it looks really good, but we'll be able to wipe this down pretty much. Like, you'll literally be able to take soap water and wipe this down when it's done. All right, so I think this is going to look freaking amazing. However, what I first tried, I had read in the reviews that somebody used a stapler. And I was like, that's amazing. It's super easy. Now, I don't know if this is a really freaking old school one from my granddad. I don't know if this is just too powerful for this stapler. I mean, it's got quite a bit of kick to it, but it's busting the ends of it. And I know, I mean, this is PVC, so I know that it's going to break. But the ends are cracking. Not all of them, but most of them are splitting. You can see that one was really bad. With the stapler, if you put them in the center right here, all right, there's no issue at all. So I hit a couple random ones, and then the idea was to go back and punch these in just a little bit, tighten them up, and then take a Sharpie marker, and you would never see them. My layout, I cut this side square. All right, this stuff cuts super easy. I'll show you here in a second. And we're gonna use the little pieces that we cut off, all right, like this, to fill in the areas that need it. So let's see here. Is this the one that goes behind? Yes, kind of like that. take them a pause and try spray glue. So I did not want to glue these on this wall, because if you glue them to the wall, then when you go to take them off, this wall is going to be covered in adhesive and glue, and you're going to have to sand it and do sheetrock work and all this stuff to ever get this wall back right. And I really did not want to go through that. However, the staples busting on the end, I also don't want to deal with a bunch of busted, cracking pieces. So I quickly realized that being the staples was busting the panels, that's not what we wanted to do. So we moved on to try something else. I did not try the spray adhesive. We ended up doing silicone around all the edges, and I'll show you that here in a second. Just ran an outline around the edges, and then I put some random dots on the insides, and that worked out perfect. Now, it does help if you cut your panel before you silicone it. That one I messed up. But this ended up being a super easy, straightforward process. And then I just used some simple push pins that I'll also show here in a second to kind of hold them in place so it don't slip around. With the silicone, you can still pretty much put it very close to where it goes and then still move it around. I also used a long reach nib marker to mark these straight, the ones that needed to be cut, and I'm going to put that link in the description for you, Amazon, where you buy them, because the markers are kind of hard to find. And I'll put you the silicone and the panels, everything you need will be in the description after this video. But as you can see, you moved along pretty fast, relatively easy, honestly. Like this kind of shocked me once I got the hang of the silicone and how easy it was. Basically just gluing the panels to the wall without using glue. And here's a close-up of the thumbtacks. So it worked out absolutely amazing, honestly. And all the thumbtacks do is literally just temporarily hold it in place while it's drying so that it don't kind of like slide down the wall. Now, when I got to the top, I had to obviously cut the panel long ways like this. So it was just as simple as measuring the distance from my last panel to your ceiling or wherever you're going to stop it at, and measuring it, making a couple marks, and then just using some scissors to cut it straight apart. This stuff just cuts absolutely easy with scissors. I mean, this stuff it's very easy to work with. Again, I paid for this out of my pocket. I did not get a break on this. It's not a product review or anything. It just honestly it's easy to work with. It's lightweight, it's flexible, it's easy to cut, it's easy to mark on. Everything about this product for me, in my experience, was easy to use, and I was very happy with the outcome. All right, so my mic died on me. Hopefully the audio is still clear. But when you're done, this is going to be all these different pieces that you're left with. You'll just have to take the pieces, and on these areas right here, you'll have to line them up. Like I know that this one is a full brick, and then this little half, same as this one, so probably this one's probably gonna be its match. Yep, look at that. And then you'll just have to go through here with your other ones, find one that match. Like obviously that don't work, but that does work. So that's what we're gonna do now is glue them up and stick these little pieces in. So far, this project hasn't been bad at all. I purchased one bag or one, whatever you want to call it, one order of these stones. They're supposed to do 50 square feet, and it was enough to do basically behind my TV. So that ended up basically being 2 panels wide, and then the rest of the panels up, plus a half at the top. I definitely wish I would have just done the silicone right from the start at the bottom instead of the staples. This worked out perfect. The silicone is not too messy. It easily wipes right off your hands, and it's not water-based exactly, but it wipes off. And it doesn't show. Being it's clear, if you make a mess or get it oozing outside, it doesn't show. When it's wet, it's all glossy, and when it's dry, it's still got a gloss to it, but nothing that's like too crazy where it like really stands out like a sore thumb. Currently, these things are $50 a bag, or set. I don't know how much they are at the time of this video. Let me know a curiosity out in the comment section if you're about to order these, how much they are. I am going to put my link in the description so that you can get the exact pieces I'm using that you're seeing here. And then also I'm going to try to put the link in the description for the pen, because the pen makes it way better than like a pencil or a Sharpie that paint. Long reach ones, that makes the job way easy for marking it. And just make sure you have thumbtacks. Basically what it's boiled down to is 1 tube of silicone per pack. Now remember, the first 2 that I set down low, I did not put silicone on, and we are kind of near the end of the tube, so that's how much rod's left. We don't have a ton left out of it, so you might want to count on 1.5 tubes per thing to be safe. I would definitely, again, go ahead and order them off Amazon. Would I do this again? Absolutely. So this has been a breeze to use. If you were doing a large area, it would definitely take some time. I didn't time myself, but this is 2 nights worth, not long at all. Just for maybe an hour or 2 each night, it's not bad. Taking my time and just setting them as we go. On these end ones, you can literally just stick the thumbtack on the outside straight in the sheetrock. You don't have to go through the plastic, and just use it basically to pin it against the wall. We had baseboard down here on the bottom, but it don't look too hot, so I think we're gonna leave it off. This is what we end up with after a couple of years of use, and it's really bad. So I think that with your garage, it's kind of one of them situations where you learn as you go. You learn what you think will work and what actually does work, all right? The baseboard looks amazing down here, but we've washed the garage out a couple times. It's continuously getting hit with stuff on the ground, and it just tears it up really fast. So I think we're gonna just leave it the concrete look, and when we redo these floors after we get done with this Plymouth build, I think that's when we'll go ahead and epoxy right up to the bottom of the sheetrock. Got to let the door completely dry out today. Brushed it out, don't want to close it. Took all the hardware off of it. We didn't take the whole door off, but took the seals out of the inside and everything, so everything's nice and wet. We don't want to close it up. You will have a little bit of this around the edge if you zoom in. This is where the silicone is, and then the white paint doesn't want to go over that. So if you have a fix for that, leave me a comment below and let me know. I'm thinking y'all are probably going to tell me it's going to be an oil-based paint, because this latex, water-based, or whatever it is that cleans up with water easily, just doesn't like the silicone. Just like if you put silicone in a paint booth painting cars, it doesn't like it either. So it's hard to paint over top of silicone. But let me know if you have a fix for painting over top of silicone and trimming that piece out. Probably just leave it, because normal situations like this, you don't see it, but that might be a problem you run into if you are doing this window and then paint your door. It was honestly embarrassing how dirty that freaking door was. It was absolutely disgusting. Now, all we have left at the moment for this is just to trim this out. The boards are sitting outside, drying, getting some sun and drying out. They were laid out behind my shed for a while, and they were soaking wet yesterday when I ripped them down. So I'm trying to get them dried out before I put them on the wall. We're gonna trim around the bricks all the way. But I'm thinking about doing some kind of hanging hook that maybe put the skateboard on the remote controls underneath the TV, just very small. I think we're gonna do away with the mantle and not put the mantle back up, because the mantle pulls the wall out this way. So the more stuff that you have flush against the wall, the more it feels like it has room in here. If you would like to reach out to me and have something like this made, my email is always in the description. We can work together on design and measurements that would fit your application, and we can go from there. I can also simply just put 2 little holes in the top where you could screw it straight into a stud in your wall. However, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. Pretty simple. I could send it to you in a flat rate envelope, and you bend it up and you weld it, and I just do the cutting for you. So hit the email if you need help with any project. Thanks. All right, now I'm aware that everybody does not have a plasma cutter. You can always cut something out by hand or do some kind of design, but this is going to be basically a floating shelf for our skateboard to sit on. Figured I would just show it because it's cool. And we're going to attach it to them 2 bolts right there so that we don't have to screw in the wall. So the bracket should come down, hang right here, and we can sit the skateboard on top of that. That allows us to store our skateboard somewhere, which our grip tape is coming off. Store our skateboard somewhere when not in use, but also utilize this as a shelf just for the remote control and the AC thing and everything underneath it like that. And I think it'll look really cool. Well, just like anything in the fabrication world, it doesn't work out like you intended. So bend it the wrong way, and also you can't see the crown. So a complete waste of that metal, kind of. I mean, I still would have had to cut it down and across, so not really the end of the world, but it's up there and it actually looks pretty good. So it looks cool. I'm not dissatisfied with it at all. It sucks that you can't hang the crown, but I don't know what I was thinking. I wanted the skateboard up tight to the TV, so therefore that means that all you're going to see is this tiny little bit. We should have honestly scripted out some words in here, because then you would have been able to actually see something. But it works. So now we can go back to keeping all of our remotes and stuff like that up here. Okay, so this morning, moving on with working on our wall, I'm about to show you how everything's turned out, but we're trying to get these boards sanded, so we got to trim out around the stones, and we just did the product review on our Vevor sander. So if you're looking to do something like this, you might want to check out that product review that I put on my channel. Check my playlist. I have a review playlist, or also just check a couple videos back or forwards. I don't know what order they're going to fall in. But this thing was perfect for this project. So I've got one more board to sand out rough wise, and then two more to just knock the finish off of existing. But you can see the texture on that, how that turned out amazing. We did cut a slot in the background. This is going to overlap right in here, overlap our stones. So we use a table saw to rip that down, and then we're going to get this thing attached to the wall. We want to keep the rough side of the board. This is the cleaner side, so we want to keep the rough side so it just looks that vintage look, and then it gets put on the wall. So let me finish sanding these out and then get it put up, and we're going to see how this project turned out. All right, so we are using a water-based finish today. Now there's much left in this, and this thing is, as you can see, freaking old. So let me give you a little piece of advice if you're new here, and that's why you found this project, is you want to DIY it yourself. Don't go to the big box stores and buy a quart or anything like that. If you are going to be a DIY guy and you're going to be doing projects, normally what I do when I purchase something like this, I just buy a gallon. And yes, sometimes it does get a little old, such as in this situation. That's the reason why I can just peel this layer off the top. I like to try to keep it as clean as possible, so when I put it back, it isn't as big of a mess, and it seals up better if you keep the lid clean as possible. But this stuff is clumpy. Like, it is, we are down to, if you can see that, we are down to the bottom of the barrel on this. But I've probably had this for 5 years. 5 years or longer, and I have used it on a ton of freaking projects. So I highly suggest, if you buy something, stains normally I buy just in like the quart. I don't buy the little pints, I buy it in the quart. But water-based, polyurethane, anything like that, dude, I just go ahead and get a gallon of it. You know you're probably going to use it anyway. So I like water-based because you can just go inside and rinse your paintbrush out. So if you're going to get a oil-based paint, some people, there's an argument that the oil base holds up better than the water base. Look, this is inside. Water base, I think, is stronger. Water base also doesn't stink. So if you have a family, you know, inside your house, while you're doing this. This is not going to be as potent as like an old school oil base. And an oil base, you're going to have to clean it up with like lacquer thinner or paint thinner or gasoline or something, versus water base. You could take this right inside your house in your sink and just rinse your brush out. We're just going to put this on pretty thick, like really thick, because there's so many cracks down inside this wood that it's going to run all down in there and it's going to slightly seal stuff up. Man, it would be awesome to take these and put epoxy on them, but then you kind of lose the 3D texture. All right, on the end of my board, I have pre-drilled some holes at a 45. All I'm going to do is keep this pretty simple. You have to remember, if you're not familiar with framing of a house, studs run up and down just like this in a home. So the chances of you falling on a stud right here is probably slim to none. Meaning, we're not going to be able to attach the boards in the center unless we were to drill a hole and use an anchor point. Now, like that one over there, it's slightly, actually quite a bit, bowed out, but there's not really nothing we can do about it unless, again, we put an anchor in the wall and then you're pulling all your pressure on the sheetrock. So I'm not going to do that at the moment. If we need to, we can go back and do it. So that's all we're going to do is put one in the top at a 45, and now we're going to come down here in the bottom and we're going to stick a screw in the bottom plate. So when you build a wall, there's studs running up and down. There's a double top plate, 2 studs running like this, and then 1 stud running across the bottom. So if we come down here to the very bottom, and if you look under the edge of your sheetrock, you're probably going to see a 2x4 down there. Now I'm just going to get mine lined up where it's level, which it should be pretty close, just going off of the edge of the brick, because we used a level to lay out the brick, and that is going to be level right there for me. So I'm going to put a screw down here in the bottom. Okay, and that thing is not freaking going nowhere, I can promise you that. All right, so y'all let me know, what do you think about this whole ordeal? I'm super stoked that I took the week and the weekend off to do this. I started this, I think, what was it, Tuesday night, and it is now Sunday afternoon about 2 or 3 o'clock, and I worked till 9 o'clock a couple nights, 9:30. So it took quite a bit of time. I didn't work straight through. There was plenty of 2-hour breaks, late starts and stuff like that. But it does take time to do it all right. I'm pretty sad and depressed that we got to get back on this hot rod over here and start back metal work and grinding work, because that's what got the place so dirty to begin with. So there's gonna get black dust back all over everything, my beautiful painted door, the whole 9 yards. But that's just part of garage life, garage fab. That's just part of it. This piece behind me is going to be absolutely amazing for future video content, for doing reviews, for just the backdrop of the video. And I think that's super important in doing YouTube videos and being a YouTuber, is not having an ugly to look at background. Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to spend some time to spin around. And look at this over here. This is a train wreck. So this just don't look that good at all. So at some point we're gonna need to do this wall, and then I'd love to completely redo this wall over here and get a bigger toolbox. But in order to do that, I gotta take the cabinets down, and we literally just put them 2 cabinets up over there. But we'll see where the future takes us. I really need to make some more progress on this car, but I absolutely love redoing stuff in the garage. Smash that like button for me, y'all. Hit subscribe maybe if you want to. Stick around. Who knows? I'd love to hang out with you. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Thanks, y'all.